In week 1 of this module, we viewed Andrea Arnold's bleak, award-winning film Fish Tank, that depicts the harsh life of a family living in a council estate and the coming-of-age story of the eldest daughter Mia and the troubles she has to overcome. Andrea Arnold is known for her gritty and realistic approach to films and does this through production and editing techniques such as casting, cinematography and framing. She also uses natural lighting and most of the time the camera is handheld. The realistic approach is something I am planning to apply to my own movie, as I want the audience to be fully submerged in the moment and for there to be no barrier between them and the movie, as you could argue there is in feature films. Even though I might not strongly apply it as Andrea Arnold does with her own productions, I will still use most of her techniques to achieve a realistic vibe. In the second week, one thing we discussed was dialogue within film, and 5 tips for writing it well. For my script, for my final movie, I am planning to apply all 5. However, one in particular stood out to me. Don't try to write the dialogue the way people actually talk. That week, we were set the task to write a script, roughly a page long, and then combine it in with the rest of your groups and film it. I, in particular, struggled at this task a lot, and I wasn't happy with the final outcome of my script. However, I know where I went wrong. Mark said in his presentation that if the audience can guess almost exactly what the next line will be, write something better. And this is where I went wrong. My script was predictable and I wrote it the way people actually talk. It became stale because of this, something I'm planning to hopefully avoid in my final movie. In our last week of our module, Al introduced us to Tarkovsky and the phrase sculpting in time. I was tremendously inspired by Tarkovsky's work as movie stalker, as his long takes fascinated as they were always so thought through and full of beauty. This week's task was my favourite because I was excited to experiment with Tarkovsky's style, and I myself attempt to create something just as beautiful as his original work. Even though I won't necessarily be applying this approach to my final production, I will probably have a few long takes scattered throughout, and I will always remember and be inspired by Tarkovsky's amazing long takes.